When I'm walking down the street.
I do want to say to Doni and many of you in this room that over a very long career in this city, all of you have helped me and my colleagues tell the truth and to try to tell.
I may not look like you and you me, but
Take my hat off.
I'm from South Carolina, so I just...
What does this event mean to you, Miss Peggy Mars?
Oh, my heart.
Happy 20th anniversary.
My heart is about loving up on my sisters. Do you know what it feels like to have your sisters in the room? John.
And dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. I am beautiful, I am blessed, but not just what you see in the flesh. I'm free from people, free from myself.
The doctor lived next door to the janitor, to the reverend, and the lawyer. We were together. Now we get so high and mighty that you create stress for your society because you don't like poor black folks either. That's a health problem. Get yourself together so I can stop being taking care of geriatric people and get back to pediatrics. I thank you, Doni, for all you've done. Let's keep doing it for all the more.
Letting His glory shine through. Dare to be you, dare to be me, dare to be different and unique. I'm gonna be the best me I can be by letting His glory shine through. And I dare you, I dare you, I dare you to be who you are.
First name's Doni, last name's Glover, in it to win it for the long haul, baby. I hope that you are well. Today we wanted to talk with some of our leading political pundits in the area, including the one and only Michael Haynie. Was on a show with him last week with Mr. Doug Blackshear. Welcome to the show, Mr. Haynie. How are you, sir?
Hey, Doni, always good to see you, man. Always good to be on your show, man. Good morning, Black USA.
So I don't know if you have been following, so let me give you a chance to catch up. Have you been following Boeing? So two things that caught my attention about Boeing. Now, one, their CEO just got an incredible severance package. He's leaving Boeing. And what troubles me is Boeing has serious issues, but they gave their CEO a $33 million package. His name's David Calhoun. Boeing shareholders vote to approve $33 million in a pay package. Now, this is what we have to counter that with. The Boeing recently had a whistleblower. His name was John Barnett. And I mention this to you, Mike, because you love to travel. You know, you're doing business in Kenya and other parts of the world. So let's just give it to you. Boeing whistleblower John Barnett died by suicide, according to a police report released on Friday, bringing to an end an investigation of the shocking death of a longtime employee who raised concerns about the airplane manufacturer's safety and production standards, who sued the company, claiming Boeing illegally retaliated against them. Now, you know, we can come back to this story down the road because it's a lot to take in, to digest, to wrap one's brain around. But Mike, I mean, me and you got a beef. Next thing I know, one of us ends up dead and the other one saying, oh yeah, he committed suicide. Come on, man. Doesn't pass the sniff test. Doesn't pass the smell test, Mike. 33 million. First of all, Boeing, I thought was, and I know we're here to talk about politics and the elections and all, but this just caught my eye. First of all, your company's doing bad. I thought they were.
First of all, Doni, to your point, this is politics. This is very big politics, and Boeing is not doing bad. Matter of fact, him being paid out $33 million is like you and us getting $3,300. $33 million is nothing to Boeing. When you look at the recent package that Congress and the Senate and Joe Biden signed off on, giving the Israelis $60 billion or Ukraine $100 billion, as I tell people all the time, it's not as though that check is written and put in the mail and sent over to these countries. Companies like Boeing, BlackRock, and other militaristic factories are the ones that are recipient of that, right? They get that money. So that money is just housed back in the United States. So Boeing, yeah, their maintenance and some of the performance of their planes, just the cost of doing business from their perspective. And this was a fall guy. And so he fell on the sword for Boeing, right? And they gave him $33 million, which is why it wasn't controversial or why it was passed. Right?
That's what they're worth.
So, $33 million is nothing, man, for him to fall on the sword. And to your point, that suicide, a little suspicious, but, when you're dealing with legal crime organizations and crime elements, right? What do you expect, man, when they're protecting the almighty dollar? That's the way it happens. Welcome to America.
Whew. How you been, Mike?
Yeah, I've been doing absolutely awesome, man. We just finished Wake Up Baltimore. Awesome show. Uplifted me. Featured a principal at Liberty Elementary here in Baltimore that's doing outstanding things. Has 270 Black men that participate with him from families in the school to let me know to what is said sometimes about Black men. They are active. They are engaged. They are doing things in the community. So Dwight Freeman, shouting them out again. Principal at Liberty Elementary School in Baltimore. Outstanding what he's doing there, rallying around the kids, rallying around the community for his school, man. Outstanding thing. So it was an uplifting moment to hear that, man.
Okay. And tell them where people can find your show, and it's every Monday.
Every Monday at 7:30, Wake Up Baltimore. Just go to Mike Haynie, Haynie YouTube channel on Sundays at 7 p.m., 60 Minutes in Black America, where we have some compelling, profound discussions on topics from around the country that have issues that affect communities. Because whether you're in Baltimore, Birmingham, Detroit, Boston, our issues are very similar in cities around the country, and we do a better job of preparing notes when we listen to Black media and shows like Black USA Yours, my show, so we can hear some of the similarities and hopefully come up with an agenda for change.
I just want to take a moment, if you will, and just pause. This is our first show of the week. We try to pay homage to the Almighty, so if we just have a moment of silence. I won't give you a big old Martin Luther King prayer and speech, but we can just take a moment and be grateful for another day and another week. Amen. Mike, we've been joined by the one and only Andy Pierre. Andy, how are you, sir?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Mike, do you know Andy?
I think so.
King David 18.
I think so. I think I know him well.
Oh, this is your brother, huh?
You're my brother too. So what does that mean? Am I my brother's keeper?
It takes a tough man to dance in the sand. Deeper than you might know, Michael Haynie. Nonetheless, Andy Pierre, what's been happening in the political world since we last saw you?
Since we last talked, I went down to the election happened, and then I went down to the Republican convention, the spring convention in Hagerstown.
I'm glad to hear this. Yesterday?
Yeah, no, this weekend. So it was Friday and Saturday.
Okay, I was up in Frederick yesterday. Okay, so I'm glad to hear this. I'm glad to hear this because I had a discussion with a young lady last night, right here in Sandtown, and what troubled me is that her whole conversation, Mike, was Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. And I said to her, what happens if we put all our eggs in this basket, the Democratic basket? What happens when the Republicans win? And she really had no answer. And so let me pose it to two people who are more politically sophisticated. This lady's just my neighbor. Not saying she had to go to Georgetown law to understand the interrelationship of politics and economics. But what are your thoughts on that? What happens when a Republican wins and we have no representation over there because we've called, what's his name, Tim Scott? We called him the biggest Sambo that was ever born. I mean, they joked him Saturday on Saturday Night Live. Any black Republican generally gets a bad rap. Now, here in Maryland, we've had Michael Steele. I never saw him do a Sambo routine, nor did I see Boyd Rutherford do a Sambo routine. So, gentlemen, I pose that to you.
So, ever since I left the Black Caucus, I realized on every Friday, right, when I was executive director of the Maryland Black Caucus of Maryland, every Friday was the caucus meetings. You had the Democratic caucuses and the Republican caucuses, and every Friday I would sit there in the middle of the hallway, and they met across from each other. Sit there in the middle of the hallway and watch all of my members walk in, file in to the Democratic room. Meanwhile, the opposition, probably most of the time, our biggest opposition would come from the R's. We don't have nobody in there. We don't know what they're talking about. We're not involved in it. We're not putting the thing. But I will say there is a little. There's some hope, right? They created this community led by Chris Anderson. He's a little wild style Republican, but he's black through and through, right? And it's what they've decided was, if we're going to bring in more black people into the Republican Party, it will not be dictated or led by the whites. And that makes sense. Let blacks bring in blacks. Let blacks deal with that. Because at the end of the day, the black agenda is not Democrat nor Republican. It needs to be present on both sides, regardless of who's in. And right now, the way it plays out is when the Democrats are in, they'll give us a little crumbs here and there. Hello, here's something to keep you quiet. Stay over here. When the Republicans are in, they'll just pretty much ignore us because they don't need us. But if 30% of the Republican vote was black, you really think Trump would have gotten elected? You think he would have made it out of the primary twice? 3 times, I mean?
I tried to tell them that. I said this years ago that we need to flood the Republican Party. That would change everything.
There should not be a party in America.
I think, Donnie, to your question, what we get is fear and apprehension when we don't participate in a process that has more than one head to it. We get fear and apprehension as we have now with Donald Trump on the cusp of perhaps being the president of the United States, which is why Joe Biden down at your alma mater or wherever it is that you went, Morehouse University, Morehouse College.
You know what it is, man. Hey, watch how you refer to that, okay?
Refer to what?
Hey, man, don't start no stuff early in the morning. It's 9:14.
So to my point, you have Joe Biden down there preaching to black men because he knows that black men aren't buying what he sold them 4 years ago, and they're leaving the Democratic Party. And now we see Donnie's hair. I like your haircut, Donnie, by the way, if that's what you're trying to show me, right? But we have fear and apprehension. And this is exactly what we talked about yesterday, was the fact that you look at Joe Biden, who was responsible for the Criminal Justice Reform Act in the 90s that incarcerated tens of thousands of black people. 1994, Omnibus Crime Bill. That's right. So, so what is wrong with us discerning a multitude of options?
You're not supposed to think. You're supposed to be black and follow suit. You're not supposed to ask any questions. You're one of those uppity Negroes.
All we have to do is go back to 1964 and listen to Malcolm X Ballad of the Bullet, where he talks about over 85% of the blacks always casting their vote in one direction, the Democratic Party, right? And he called us chumps because the Democrats come around every 4 years, know that they need our vote because our vote usually is the one that makes a difference when we vote. And blacks have no motivation this election to vote. President Biden has every motivation to get blacks to vote, but blacks have no motivation to vote because when you vote, what is it that we ultimately get that we're not getting anyway?
Nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
And particularly black men, finally black men are waking up and, to your point, Donnie, thinking and saying, hey, if he sold me a bill of goods, meaning Biden and the Democratic Party, that usually equate to nothing, Justice Reform Act not passed, community economic development package not whole or beneficial to blacks, why shouldn't I take a look at Trump? He's offering more.
Reparations.
What it is that the Democrats are, yeah, granted he's crazy, granted the groups around him are crazy, but why shouldn't I at least listen to him and discern what he's saying? That's how we get leverage, but we don't understand that.
I mean, the guy Joe Biden legit got on a nationally broadcasted radio show, The Breakfast Club, and told Charlemagne the God with straight face, oh, if you're not supporting me, you're not black. How comfortable can you get?
He about to find out, ain't he?
He about to
See, one thing you don't do is crack slick on somebody when you got your hand in their mouth. You don't go out to the zoo and smack the lion.
And let's not talk about the war on Gaza. So two things are going to sink Biden. The war on Gaza, to what we were talking about, Boeing and the militaristic dollars being reinvested in this country, because we had to take out $60 billion in loan to give to Israel that never left this country. And Biden's using that as political favors to pay off Boeing, pay off Halliburton, pay off BlackRock. That's what they do with that money. That money doesn't leave the country. They produce the militaristic weapons, ship them over Israel into Ukraine, and that money stays with the rich community. Just give me 0.5% of it, and maybe I'll shut up. Okay? But the point is that the Middle East, and you've got Netanyahu, as well as the Hamas leader this morning, that are going to be brought up on criminal charges, right, for war crimes. And why shouldn't Biden be brought up too? Because he's got blood on his hands. He supplied the weapons. And then he's going to give them bombs and then tell them, hey, listen, don't bomb too much.
So
and
Andy,
that's what Morehouse, the kids down in Morehouse are like, why'd y'all invite him to speak?
So Andy, you missed the first part where we were talking about Boeing. They just gave their CEO a $33 billion severance package. $33 million severance package. And Mike brought out, well, that company's worth over $100 billion, and that's a drop in the bucket, considering that Boeing has had some challenges. There's also had a whistleblower who committed suicide over the weekend. So now I want to shift your gears to another piece of news that happened yesterday, and it was all on CNN. Mike, I know you saw it. The president of Iran was killed.
Yeah.
In a helicopter supplied by the United States, Iran, right? Iran, he's in a helicopter trailer with 3 helicopters. The helicopter was an older helicopter, but it was supplied by the United States, right? Or sold to Iran. It's all about the money.
This takes me back to the many African leaders who have gone to Europe for medical surgery, only never to return to Africa. You talk about having your enemy educate your children. You talk about having your enemy do surgery on you. You talking about having your enemy give your president a ride. Last I checked, we didn't like Iran.
Now, the weather was bad.
Blame it on something. Blame it on the alcohol. Blame it on the weather. They killed that man. It's the president of a country. It's a storm. You see the storm coming. You have storms all the time. Something is so funky about that situation. Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, Wake them up, you can see it.
But you know, they didn't just kill him. They killed who they really wanted to get was their foreign minister.
Yes,
he was on that plane.
I saw that.
He was on that helicopter too.
Yeah, I saw that.
And hey, you know, that's what war
We've
is
done
about.
a very good job at
Destabilizing
that region. Mm-hmm.
What'd you say?
We did a pretty good job at destabilizing that region, because from what I've understood, the dark skinned nations tend to back each other up against Israel, and if Israel wants to kneecap Palestine, you got to take out their allies.
Oh, so now the truth is coming out. Andy, you say this has everything to do with the Gaza Strip.
If you ask me, Iran was quietly helping the Palestinians. Everybody who helped the Palestinians are going to get hurt. You look at the students at freaking Johns Hopkins University trying to help the Palestinians by protesting. They're feeling the thunder. Anybody helping the Palestinians is going to feel this heat.
Here's my question: where's Trump on the Gaza Strip, on Palestine, on Israel?
I have no idea.
So Trump is a supportive of the money to Israel, as most Republicans and people in the United States involved in capitalism are, because the Israelis are too strong financially not to side with them. They will crush you. Where I think the issues are is with Netanyahu using the war as a cover-up for his criminal crimes, similar to Trump, that he had going on before Gaza was bombed. You know that Netanyahu was up on criminal charges, and they're saying this distraction has helped keep him out of court. Okay, but in terms of support of Israel, most Republicans encouraged Joe Biden to sign for the Israeli funding to go over there. What they did not want was Ukraine to get the money. And that's where Donald Trump he wanted to make sure that Ukraine definitely didn't get the money because his buddy is Putin over in Russia. But they're all for Israel getting money because they're just too strong financially for us not to support them. And I can't say I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
So where do you see this thing going?
World War III. We're in it right now. Yesterday was indicative of it. The bombing of Gaza was indicative of it. When they shut down,
it's giving Ferdinand vibes.
Yeah. I mean, the first three casualties of this World War III beginning were 3 black soldiers out of Georgia. Remember that? The first 3 soldiers killed were black. We're involved. This is why our community has, American soldiers. That's why we have to understand what's going on. And this presidential election is crucial from that regard.
Is there a difference between their policies? It seems the one difference that you have articulated is Trump's support of Putin.
So with black people, to me, to your point, Donnie, it doesn't make a difference in the Middle East or Ukraine, whether it's Trump or Biden. But in terms of a price of gas or a loaf of bread, it does make a difference in who's going to give me an opportunity economically, educationally, to get ahead in this country. A war is going to go on in spite of. And people are disillusioned with Joe Biden. Donald Trump has every reason. He's a businessman. He has every reason to make a deal with you right now. He has every reason to make a deal with you. And the most dangerous thing is if Trump gets off of this trial found not guilty, which if you ask me, they don't have the goods on him. If he gets off on this trial, you can pretty much guarantee that he will be the next U.S. president, number 47 or 48, whatever it is. If they do not convict him in New York City, it will be like a mortar relived, man. Can you imagine what will happen if because everything else behind that is going to be, see, I told you so. This is a dangerous trial that's happening in New York City right now. This will propel Donald Trump to the presidency.
And trying to use the courts to influence politics it's slippery slope to begin with.
Well, he's a criminal. He's been a criminal for 30 years, man. So, they just picked the wrong time, in my estimation, to go after him, because all of a sudden to those radical racists that support him and are his base, not that he has to be one, because you remember he used to be a Democrat and he was Hillary and Bill's best friends at some point, right? That's who Donald Trump was, but he's using what it is that he has. He's playing the hand that's dealt him. Yeah. Right? But, I can't blame him, but he's a businessman. All he wants to do is make money and care about himself. And if he has to cut a deal with Doni, Mike, and Andy,
businessman. I think you should add in a failed businessman.
It depends on how you measure it. How do you measure fail? I'm a failed businessman.
His definition of success is everybody else losing and him walking away with not paying taxes. And that generally tends to be how his things play out, right? People, they work with Trump. You're gonna lose. Yeah. He's gonna walk away, and he ain't gonna pay taxes.
Yeah, I don't know if you can describe him as a failed businessman. I think he's a successful businessman, having worked the system the way that he has, and has what he has that is more than most people.
Well, how is it that he gets to be president, but Marilyn Mosby is facing jail time?
Well, because Mosby,
certainly his crimes are more egregious than hers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he also has other people in place to do the actual dirty work. I mean, look at the Stormy Daniels thing. We're talking about an attorney making the payment.
And karma will win in the end. You will see him defrocked, dethroned, and destabilized. It
may be in heaven or hell somewhere, but not here on earth.
No, right here on earth. You are going to see him humbled.
I don't know, man. The Constitution of this country was written
Karma's by people. Coming, baby. Karma got his name on it. Yeah, like a boomerang, it's going to hit him in the back of his head.
I don't know, but to your question, the fact that
you go around, Michael, doing what he did to people?
No, because I'm not white.
Trump Jr. is going to pay for Trump Sr.'s karma. Trump Jr. is going to catch all the heat for Trump Sr.'s karma.
Trump is going to get it. I have a premonition. Trump will pay the price.
Yeah, but to your question, Marilyn Mosby, who was a progressive prosecutor, and that job around the country has vacancies out the Yahoo, right? Because progressive prosecutors back around Freddie Gray and George Floyd wanted to usurp Black men, particularly, going to jail. So they stopped prosecuting lesser crimes. And then when police got into trouble, they wanted to prosecute police officers. Well, you didn't do that in the 60s, 70s, and 80s and 90s. You didn't prosecute police. Police tend to be one of the more powerful groups in this nation. And when she attempted to prosecute those 5 police officers, they came and got her. They got her because you don't do that. And then she's indigent, didn't have the ability to pay for attorneys to get her off. So she had to take a public defender, right? At that point, you lose. That's the difference between her and Trump. Trump can afford to pay millions and millions and millions.
And I thought they had him. What was that fine he had to pay up there in New York? A half billion?
Almost $400 million.
Boy, did he come up with it. First, they got it cut in half. They got an extension, and he paid it.
Yeah, because he has friends. Do you have that kind of friends?
I probably do, but I wouldn't ask him for that kind of money.
Oh, well, that's part of business.
Favor you have to pay back?
You got to pay that money back. He's got to pay it back.
Oh, he's got to pay it back. But that's the way business runs in America when you're in Donald Trump's level.
And those folks who made that investment in his freedom, they will get a return So they're going to make sure his ass gets in the presidency. Biden's going to have a hard time. I mean, I was looking at it like, damn, Biden's already lost the black. Well, I think he lost the black vote. He might still have the old church vote, but he does not have the young people.
He doesn't have the young people, no doubt about it. The young people, and you can see that through the Baltimore mayoral election. The young people have decided it is time to change the guard. And what you all stand for, we no longer stand for what you all stand for.
Come on back, Andy. Say it again.
There's going to be a lot of ticket split in this election.
What do you mean?
So you're going to have people voting Trump at the top of the ballot, also Brooks for Senate. You know, like, this is going to be a lot of ticket splitting coming down. Everybody, like, it's going to be an interesting one.
You're going to hear right here on this show, is it true that Maryland Republicans changed their party affiliation to push also Brooks over Trump?
No.
So you said Republicans put change to push also Brooke? Also Brooke, to me, is the better candidate than David Trone, because
that's not answer the question.
No, the answer is no.
My understanding is they would prefer to go against also Brooks than Trone.
Oh no, because you look at, if Trone had won, I would have supported Hogan. No doubt about
it. It would be two white guys.
What do I care about that?
Bullers.
Okay, so here's the magical question. What does also Brooks mean for Black agenda?
What does she mean?
It looks good. We got a Black woman in this.
So it's mere window dressing? For instance, one of the issues that we discuss on this network all of the time is Black business. So I pose to you two Baltimore-centric gentlemen, and we tried to get a Prince George's voice. Irvin Reed, please feel free to chime in. What is also Brooks' track record on Black business in Prince George's County?
Hey, listen, I'm satisfied with also Brooke that she's not perfect, and there's always opportunities.
No, that's not answering the question.
No, hear me out.
Daryl Barnes' question. Daryl Barnes would probably be the most apt. Former Delegate Daryl Barnes would probably be the most apt to answer that question.
He's not running for U.S. Senate. She's running for U.S. Senate.
People say that she has not done a good job in Black businesses in Prince George's County, which I can't offer substance detail to the way they say. I do know this over almost 80% of the Prince George's voters supported her. And because maybe one person, I spoke to one person in particular that you know, who was absolutely against her. You know what? So all of a sudden, we got a good, credible candidate that hasn't been to jail, hasn't been charged for a felony or been arrested for a felony, not trying to run again because of that. And then we're going to beat her up and support a white man who gave Republican governor of Texas
what's the track
money
record on Black business?
Hey, listen, man. Anybody, any Black man or Black woman that
so we
comes
vote
at me
for
with that
because she's
crap,
Black, Andy.
that is a bunch of crap. And I'm going to vote for David Trone versus her because of her track record. They say of Black businesses, avowed racist that said jigaboo.
Byron, you don't
Republicans money.
Byron Dees is making a comment. Byron, you got to come on the show to make.
You got some sick people that have to say about that. You got some sick people. Don't listen to them people, Donnie.
I'm just posing the question. That's my job.
I would say the also Brooke Trone campaign came down straight to strategy and less about like discernment, like voter discernment. I think it was straight up strategy because David Trone came in. He was like, I'm going to go up on the air. I'm going to stay up on the air. He went up on the air. He stayed up on the air. He dropped a bunch of money. Right? That's just one school of thought. TV wins elections. It doesn't. Freaking also Brooks came in and she ran the Elijah Cummings strategy. Elijah Cummings.
Apparently, signs don't win elections either.
Yeah, they do. They won an election for her. Larry Gibson, believe it or not, the undercurrent
Brandon
He
Scott
took
didn't have one
500.
damn
He took
sign up.
500 Masons across Maryland to spread over 40,000 signs. That's what won her the
Yes.
election.
Brandon
Larry
Scott
Gibson
didn't
is
have
the
one
sign
damn
king of
sign up.
Maryland. But you got to admit that there was more going on. They ran. Well, here's what I say when they say they ran the freaking Elijah Cummings strategy, right? The Elijah Cummings strategy. Did you see the cadre of elected officials that she had surrogates for her, stumping for her? Like she had more. Like she put Troll in a situation where he had to freaking discount the legitimacy of her surrogates. Like, oh no, well, I got the big dogs because he didn't have an argument anymore because she had. And then actually, it's funny because he insulted those people, and what they did, they mobilized their own people on the streets. He thought to himself, I'm going to go up on TV and people are going to see me and be like, oh my God, I'm voting for Trump. What did they do? They got people that their people knew, sent them to their houses. The signs, you got a sign game that was to die for. Okay. You had like mail. You think she was in the mailboxes on everybody's freaking
Yeah,
slate.
very strategic. But you know, David Trone, when he got Anthony Brown, a perennial loser anyway, and he should be voted out of office, as well as Aisha Brayboy.
He lost one election.
And Anthony Brown, man. Now that's what you call a Uncle Tom.
Oh my God! Whoa!
That's what you call. I said it.
Oh, first of all, Uncle Tom was a hero. If you go back and read the story,
did he come to Baltimore?
The term is called Sambo. Sambo.
Whatever you want to call. I am so disappointed in Anthony Brown.
Oh my!
First of
let
all,
me call him. You want me to call him?
Get him on the show.
Damn, that's the attorney. Call him a what?
You heard what I said.
Huh?
And Aisha Brayboy,
Aisha.
Prince George's. She's Aisha to me. She's Aisha from whatever she's from. These two need to be voted out of office.
Oh my! Do you live in Prince George's County?
I did. I live in America. I live in Maryland. But Anthony Brown showed us why he lost the governorship. He is a sharecropper.
The Anthony Brown that lost the governorship.
He goes up on TV because this man has paid him $300,000 for his campaign. Anthony Brown had a price, and David Trone paid it. You gonna tell me that's
Anthony
not
Brown
true?
is?
You can't tell me one thing Angela Brooks has done for black business, though, Michael Haynie. And you're telling me essentially that I'm voting to make her.
I told you.
But
I can't tell.
I'm voting
but I
because
can't
she's
tell
black.
you one thing. I can't tell you one thing as you can't tell me that she hasn't done either. Can you?
She has no track record with black business in Prince George's County.
So that means I'm gonna vote for an avowed racist as a payback.
I'm talking about her.
But you're telling me that I should not vote for her.
I can't answer the question. Okay, so do we give Westmore a pass too?
Who are you talking about?
Do we give Westmore a pass also?
What are we passing him for?
When he comes to seek re-election, are you okay, Andy?
Yeah, I'm fine.
That was good. Okay.
I know he ran Anthony Brown's campaign. I saw him down there. You know,
when Westmore runs for re-election,
right? You ran Anthony Brown's campaign, right? You ran Anthony Brown's campaign. You?
No. I did not run Anthony Brown's campaign. Just wanted to point out that Anthony Brown,
but you were in his camp. You were in his camp deep, though.
No. Anthony Brown. I like him. I like him because the Anthony Brown that we saw lose the governorship and the Anthony Brown that won attorney general, they're two different people. When I saw him running for attorney general, he was swag. It was like the shackles were off of him. He didn't give a damn about what
he had shackles on him. And then when David Trone needed him and made him ante up, he put the shackles back on.
That's not at all. I mean, listen, he has beef with the Elsa Brook camp. They're not friends, so why would you expect him to come out and be like, yeah, I support this person who I don't like?
Oh, hey, listen, no doubt about it, because when you're a loser, you don't hang with winners. And Anthony Brown lost more for this state than you can imagine when he allowed Hogan at that point to beat him, because he ignored and snubbed Baltimore County, because he thought he was better than, right? I have no respect for Anthony Brown.
Well,
Okay, so
I was never going to go for Anthony Brown back then because of his ties with O'Malley. We pretty much painted this man with the O'Malley brush. It didn't matter what he did. We was going to be like, yeah, yo, y'all fudging the numbers.
Okay. So he was shackled to Martin O'Malley, and he couldn't find his own identity. He shackled himself to David Trone.
His wife against him. Oh yeah, he had to go war. He had to go nuclear.
He had to fight, and let's not forget, he changed wives in the middle of the program.
Yeah, well, that's on him, man. That's on him.
No, there are those who say that the second wife is more visibly black.
Yeah, she is. Mm-hmm. I've met them both. But Anthony Brown was purchased by David Trone for $400,000, which is a high price to pay in 2024 for a slave. But David Trone paid that price. When did we
start giving states attorneys a pass? The state's attorney's job, and I'm talking about Kamala Harris, I'm talking about Angela Alsobrooks. The state's attorney, the district attorney's job is to lock up people. And in America, these faces on this show are the star of that movie. Huh. So be careful how much you're stroking all of that stuff over there, because it's on our backs.
Mm-hmm. That's why they have us in place, and that's why Marilyn Mosby on Thursday is facing 40 years, right?
That's right. Good morning, brothers.
Welcome to the show, Byron Deese. Byron Deese, you made a comment, and I commend you. We're going to give you a space. Also, Brooks is black. Majority black Democrats will vote black over voting for Republican Hogan.
I think we got to just, there is a pie in the sky that I think all of us would love to eat in the sky. But the truth is, black people vote for black people. Whether that's the right way or whether that's that's what we do. We vote.
Let me help you out. Barack Obama didn't become president because of black people alone. It took a lot of white people.
96%, bro. We turned out 96% for Obama. Ain't nobody ever seen nothing like that.
We have 13% of the population.
But we also are 86% of us vote for the Democratic Party, which makes a difference when you look at the fact of the Republican whites. The Democratic whites are the same until you put the influence of the African American and the Latino vote in the Democratic Party pocket, which is usually what makes a difference in them winning or losing.
And all I'm saying is
we have significance.
Taking things one step further, like having the highest number of people in the state is one thing, but having the highest number of people turn out is another thing. So in Philadelphia, the Muslims make up 8% of the population? They're like 33% of the voting bloc. They show up. And so, the fact that we only make up 15% of the population, that's all fine and dandy. If we turn out our 15%,
how about that?
This thing got problems, George.
We busy doing TikTok.
Yeah,
that's true. Our babies are over here doing these cute little dances and stuff. You should see my little sister.
And they can't write, they can't spell, they can't read. We got schools with no air and no heat. We got $15 billion from the Maryland State Lottery, a new football stadium, a new baseball stadium. But we have classes that have to close as soon as it starts to get warm, which is coming up in Baltimore City. So I'm in.
Well, when you got 90% of the kids not going to damn school anyway, why heat the goddamn school?
I am disgusted at the Maryland State Department of Education because they are failing our young people.
We don't have a money problem. We have a parenting problem.
And we have an administrative problem because there's no reason why we don't have air or heat.
Why would I air and heat an empty school?
Because that's your damn job, and I paid you to do it.
Okay.
Well,
It's a damn stadium.
your
for your
job is to make sure
baseball.
you bring your damn
Go
kids to
Orioles.
school.
Go
Bring your
Orioles.
kids to school.
If I'm a student and I know that
My
I'm going to
children
go
are
in
A
here,
students. My
everything
students
that I'm
went to
going to
school.
learn, they're going to have to reteach me when I get to college because I'm going to have to take remedial classes coming out of here because the school's not ranking high enough. These kids aren't as dumb as we think they are, man. They
They're
are
not dumb
looking
at
at this
all.
and they're doing the math and they're like, I will make more money in the long run selling drugs than I will being in here. They're not stupid. They're
Until you get
making
caught.
this calculation
Until you
because we're
get caught.
continuously doing the simplest thing when it comes to education. Let's do the easiest things possible. Let's get these kids out. How are you graduating a kid with a 0.13 GPA? How? Like, the thing is, they're not freaking stupid. They know they're getting screwed over, and they're not wasting their time. And so for us to be like, oh, we need to punish the parents because of the truancy, how about we just fix the curriculum? How about we teach these kids?
Yeah, how about that, Mike?
They want to get money. Teach them how to do it.
How about that, Mike?
As I mentioned earlier, listen to Dwight Freeman. Education is happening, particularly when parents are involved. That's when education happens. So the kids aren't stupid, but you wonder, because my kids, Donnie just said his kids get a good education because he's involved, right? I just had a principal on my show this morning
now, just
that
like
talked
you, Mike.
about 270 black males that are involved at his school. You think those kids aren't getting educated?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, we got to stop passing the buck and passing the blame, because if my kids' school don't have heat and air conditioning and I'm involved, I'm raising hell. That's what happens out in the suburbs. They don't allow that to happen because they're involved. Stop passing the damn buck. All my kids can read because I went to PTA meetings.
Well, so
maybe one of my kids sold drugs and reads.
Well, here's the point, though. What we're really having right now is a class conversation, because there's a certain class of folk who parents going to be involved. They're going to make sure their kids are doing homework, all that. There's another class of folks who they don't have that same time. Either one, they may be working two jobs, or maybe they don't care because they don't substance abuse or whatever the case may be. But we have to have the black community has to have a clean, open conversation about the social classes and what's happening, because we talk about it as if it's the same deal for everybody, and it's not. It is definitely a different situation. If you live to your point, Donnie, if you live downtown, if you live in Sandtown, you live in Winchester, you live in any community that economically depressed, and you got kids and you got substance abuse, you have a whole different situation than my kid, who we're living in the counties, right? So what do you blame? What do
Private schools got more drugs than public schools. Private schools got more drugs than public schools.
That's true.
Byron,
yeah, I get it, but
Byron, what do you blame that on? You blame that on Brown versus Board of Education?
I mean, it's always been like that. There's always been social classes.
Because there was no. Because before Brown versus Board of Education, we could only go to school in those communities that you described. We had teachers. In Baltimore City, over 75% of the teachers are white women.
Thanks to Andre Salonzo. Andre Salonzo got rid of 75% of the principals in Baltimore City public schools. Andre Salonzo, the henchman of Martin O'Malley.
I disagree with that.
And Sonia Santelice is his mentee. So thank you very much, Andre Alonzo, and thank you to the Baltimore City Police for never locking him up when they should have down there. And speaking of domestic violence and Andre Salonzo, what do you think of that puppy video?
It was bound to come out.
I think he tried to get control of his household.
That was a hotel.
That was not his
house. She got paid. She ain't complaining. She got paid.
Yeah. Oh man,
we know it's atrocious. Man. He belongs in jail with R. Kelly. What the deal is. But she got paid because everybody has a price. Anthony Brown, Jesse Jackson's son, P. Diddy's woman. Everybody has a financial price on their head, and if you pay it, then they're gonna keep their mouth closed or open their mouth for the wrong person. Everybody got. What's your price? I know one of your people had David Trone running across their platform, and you know they was getting paid.
Who?
You can't buy me like that. You can't buy me like that for an avowed racist. There's not enough money for you to buy me as an avowed racist.
Who?
You go look. You see what I see.
Who's taking Trone money?
Only one I know that got Trone money
I'm not saying
was
not
Adrian.
to take someone's money, but if I take somebody's money, you're not going to shut me up. And if you're going to shut me up, then
there's only one black that got that money out of Trone. Who else got money?
I mean,
Johnny.
Okay, all right, okay.
Turn the recording off, and I'll talk. You don't want to get me started.
Going Kendrick Lamar on.
Let's go, Kendrick Lamar versus Drake.
And you talked about David Trone. This guy said that he gave Republican money in Texas and Arizona because it was good business. So on one hand, he's a good businessman. On the other hand, he's buying Jesse Jackson's son, Anthony Brown, Aisha Bradeboy, and all the other tens of thousands of blacks that he gave a few pennies to sell their soul to go up and speak against a black woman. And then he's gonna call you jigaboo. He's gonna call you jigaboo in public to your face.
I do want to hit that point, right? So
can't argue that, bud.
So here, especially when we talk about Aisha Bradeboy, that was an easy move for her because she was ready to go against Alsa Brooks anyway. That money or no money, she was ready to highlight.
What are the repercussions of her support? Does that mean Calvin Hawkins gets the nod from Angela? Does it mean that Angela is stronger than initially perceived by telling Westmore, you better show up, bud, if you want to get reelected? Is that how it went down?
Oh, she's powerful. She's powerful. And if I was them, I'd go pack my bags and move into another slave quarter. But she's a nice person, so she ain't gonna go at him hard like she possibly could. But Aisha Bradeboy needs to be voted out. She needs to go.
Give me some Bradeboy now. Bradeboy, I don't know.
Yeah,
she was the former chair of the Black Caucus, man.
So were you? Didn't you say that?
I was executive director. I wasn't the chair.
Okay, same thing.
Hit him. Hey, look, where I come from, that's too much of a pause. You got to hit him.
But I didn't hit him. I just made a comment.
You did. Oh, yeah, you did. You just
was it true?
And you hit him back. Don't be
you said we all brothers.
Don't be intimidated because he's older and uglier. Hit him.
Who said that I was older?
Oh, your ass older.
Hey,
this was a healthy discussion, and I'm glad we've had it right here on this network. Mike, how is your show coming along?
Hey, man, my show is absolutely awesome, man. We had 2.5 thousand viewers. We average about 2,000 on Friday night at 7 on Sunday night at 7 o'clock because we talk about issues throughout the country. We talk about the war in Gaza. We talk about the presidential election. We talk about our Robert Kennedy. We talk about the trial. So that black
people. Did you talk about C. Miles?
Who?
Did you talk about C. Miles? C. Miles got his wings last week. I got a phone call from Sarita Mary. I got a phone call from Coach Butch McAdams. C. Miles, if you ask me, put WOLB 1010 AM on the map.
Yes, the coach.
Long before there was a coach or Larry Young, C. Miles rocked the airwaves at WOLB. He's out of Atlanta. He is our Morehouse brother. And we accept you as a Morehouse brother because your brother. So Keith Haynie, my big brother down at Morehouse. But yes, our prayers to the Almighty to allow C. Miles into the kingdom. And I will tell you, I don't share this story often, that C. Miles really inspired me to go into radio because he hung up on me. And I didn't like it so much, I said, you know what? I need my own damn show. C. Miles was a beast. God rest your soul, C. Miles. Ashe. Yep, he got his wings last week. Didn't Angela also Brooks voted against a black woman and Donna was different black people before. Well, let me tell you, Elsa Brooks did a better job than Donna Edwards. Donna Edwards was a horrible candidate. And I saw that woman over at the White House and I said, "Hi, Donna Edwards. My name's Donnie Glover. I run Be More News. We put up your press releases all the time." She said, "Thank you. And how are you doing?" I was like, "Woo." She flipped her head on me. That Jerry curl juice hit me right in the eye. I was like, "Ooh."
Well, you know, black people have to learn from the Jewish community that we can be enemies inside our community, but we have to be united when we have an opportunity.
Don't turn your back. Hey, if I see you over the White House and you black, I expect you to speak. Al Sharpton or whoever else you are. If you don't speak, I'm going to feel a certain kind of way because there are not many of us. And the blacks who work like Kevin Lewis, like Erica Lowe, like Roderica Applewhite, who make it their business to make sure that we are over there to cover the story, they bust their butt. And it don't happen under a Trump administration. We don't get the same kind of access. So when we do get there, act like you got some common sense. Act like you got some decency. You know what I mean, Byron?
Speaking of clips, did you see the clip of Roger Forston?
I didn't.
Air Forceman Robert Forston that got shot by the Fort Walton Beach police live. Did you see that clip?
No.
I did.
Would you like to see that clip?
Yeah, run it.
Let me run it real quick. This brother, he's an airman. And this is what they're doing, man. This is what they're doing. They shot and killed this brother, man. Let me run real quick while you all talk.
While you're doing that, let me just take a moment and thank the three of you for helping.
Here it is right here, Donnie. You're gonna have to show it.
Okay.
Go ahead. There it is, Donnie. Show them that clip.
What it is.
Tonight, a new criminal investigation into whether a Florida deputy was justified in fatally shooting 23-year-old U.S. Airman Roger Forston in his own home. You see the tragic moment unfold in this body camera footage. The officer announces his presence at Forston's apartment after receiving a report of a disturbance.
Sheriff's office, open the door!
Forston appears and is shot almost instantaneously. Look closely. You see the door open, and there appears to be a gun in Forston's right hand, but it's pointing downward, never aimed at the officer, who immediately fires off 6 rounds, striking Forston in the chest and the arm.
Multiple gunshot wounds to the chest. Blackmail.
There is a more descriptive one than that, man, that is compelling. You see him shot down speaking. His girlfriend, who he was speaking to on FaceTime, heard the entire conversation between him and saying, "Don't move, don't move." He just shot him 6 times.
Yeah.
And now we got Marilyn Mosby, get ready to do 40 years, potentially, although we know she's not going to get it. This is the oxymoron that we have to understand of the political process, which Joe Biden now has a pardon on his desk.
Yeah.
To pardon Marilyn Mosby. Do you think he should use it?
If he wants to get reelected, he will.
Listen, he should use it. And yesterday at Morehouse, and your brothers, Morehouse brothers, he was there. Morehouse could very well put this brother back into the office. Last night, I was watching him make a decision as to what he was going to say, and he needs to leverage Morehouse and Marilyn Mosby to get back. You know
what got me, Byron, was the look on his face.
Okay,
the look on his face as he was giving the speech. It was the kind of look like, I know y'all ain't getting ready to put this dagger in my back. Hey, I see you got that dagger. You ready to put that dagger in my back. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. You're not.
They could have done
play
it.
That short clip. Play that short clip for the people.
4 years ago, as some of your speakers have already mentioned.
That look. Look at that look on his face.
Saturday.
He can't help that.
Like something stink.
Well, that's an 82-year-old.
Some of you lost loved
ones. No, he got this right here.
Who aren't able to be here to celebrate with you today.
He's trying to read.
You missed your high school graduation.
No, there's
Started calling
disdain
just
and
as
hatred.
George Floyd was murdered. And there was a reckoning on race.
Talking to the most intellectually black men on the planet.
Democracy you hear about actually
And they not
works.
buying it, bro.
One thing he
What
did,
is
he said,
democracy?
"Listen, I got more
Black men
Morehouse
are being
men telling
killed
me
in the
what to do
street.
on a day-to-day
What
basis."
is
What is
democracy?
democracy?
He's asking us, what is
Trail of
democracy?
broken promises
He
still
is.
leave black communities behind. What is democracy? You have to be 10 times better than anyone else to get a fair shot. And most of
Being
all,
black.
He just told me that.
what does it mean? As we've heard before, to be a black man who loves his country, even if it doesn't love him back in equal measure.
Now that's some powerful stuff. He's telling me my
It's a powerful
country don't
statement.
love me. He just
He
told me
said
that.
it.
Mhm. He
said
said it out of his mouth.
He said that.
out of his mouth.
Now what's he
That's
going to
me.
do to make my country love me?
Not a damn thing.
I commend Roderica Applewhite, Erica Lowe, Kevin Lewis, because he could not be there without some serious black people telling him what he better say.
That's right.
He could not be, not at Morehouse.
Yeah. And that valedictorian could have put the dagger in him.
Could have put it up in him.
He gave a great speech. He said, "We need a ceasefire right now." He outlined it. He could have put the dagger in him. He didn't do it. So,
Well, the president of Morehouse said if they started to protest, he was going to end the commencement because he did not want to see Morehouse kids get locked up or put
Exactly.
in plastic
Yeah.
handcuffs, man.
that's
But
exactly
they were
right.
ready to get him because the young people ain't taking. The young people are not going to vote Joe Biden in. I don't believe. I don't.
So we
I
gotta
believe they
salute
gonna
our
stay-
young people, man. We salute these young people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I tell you what, if Biden gets up and pardons Marilyn Mosby, it's going to go viral. It's going to go viral to the people who
And the
who willing
police
stand
are
out
going to
and not
hate
vote.
his ass. The police are going to hate him.
They already hate him. They already
Well,
hate
Biden's
him.
not going to sign that pardon. Trump will, though.
That's real. Trump
What
was
does Trump have the benefit by pardoning her?
Well, you gotta ask
He's not
him.
going to
And that's
sign
the-
that more pardon.
That's the
dude.
job of this news outlet, to ask anybody the tough question.
By that time, Trump would have already, if he wins re-election, he's already back in office. Like, what does he have to
Like,
gain?
if I was running for re-election right now, right after this primary, she would have got this, but she would have. We would be. That's all we'd be talking about right now. Is
Yeah,
how
yeah,
Trump
exactly.
pardoned
He-
Mosby.
So
if he was
would've
president
rode
right
through
now,
summer
I
on
got
that
it.
wave.
whoever scheduled her trial date, do you think they could foresee the trial falling right in the middle of all of this? Would they have
I
done
don't
it
think
later or sooner?
I don't
You
think
talk about
anybody-
Marilyn Mosby?
Yes, Marilyn Mosby.
First of all, her biggest mistake was moving it out of Baltimore.
Where she had
That
some
was
control.
a huge mistake.
Yeah,
huge
there's a
mistake.
lot of people in Baltimore that fall on the sword for Mosby. Her
I
husband
would've-
fell on the sword.
If
for
I
her.
was on that jury, they would have had one acquittal. Because that's what they do. They did it when they lynched us down south. And
How
they
does-
know they lynched us.
I
They know
gotta
they
ask.
lynched us.
I gotta ask you three incredibly intelligent black men, phenomenally intelligent. What do you think of Eric Barron,
You talk about the U.S. attorney for Maryland?
who they sicked on her?
Well,
Hey,
it's
Barron's
unfortunate.
a
It
tip
started
bull,
doing
buddy.
Trump.
he ain't gonna stop.
Yeah, he's doing his job. He's doing his job. It's because of him that murders are down in Baltimore because he's locking your ass up.
He's coming at you like they came after the mobsters back in the day. He's coming after everybody.
Yeah,
So
he's
you,
just
you
like
guys
that
don't
former
have any
attorney
problem
up
with a
in New
black
York.
man putting a dagger in that black woman?
I got a big problem with it. Yeah, at some point, these guys allow that blue line or whatever their professional life is.
I mean,
to
what points does he
supersede.
get for putting the dagger in her? Who does he appeal to?
If
Well,
his
look at the
profession-
judge. Look at the judge,
Yeah.
Grigsby.
And she
He's a
shouldn't be
Democratic
even
appointee.
judging this. But at the main point is that these guys get in law enforcement, whatever branch they're in, and that becomes their life. It's bigger than black. It's bigger than religion. It's
He's
bigger
still
than
black,
everything.
Tyrone Powers said that all she should have had to do was pay the fine and call it a wrap.
Call it a day. What are we talking about?
I don't know if he can. Like, you got to think about it strategically, right? Like, if he comes out and he, you know, and he, you know, if he did anything to prevent Mosby from catching this heat, he would be catching the heat. Like, the police unions and them folks, they were gunning for Mosby, and they would take out anybody in the way trying to protect Mosby.
That's real. That's real. That's real. But you know,
let me show you what she says about this stuff. Last one, because this is powerful. Because we have got to show our people not what they hear, but what they actually. Hold on a second. Flash that up there, Doni.
Professional role in this matter is plain: to seek justice on behalf of an innocent 25-year-old man who was unreasonably taken into custody after fleeing in his neighborhood, which just happens to be a high-crime neighborhood, and had his spine partially severed in the back of a Baltimore police wagon. For those that believe that I'm anti-police, it's simply not the case. I'm anti-police brutality, and I need not remind you that the only loss and the greatest loss in all of this was that of Freddie Gray's life. We do not believe that Freddie Gray killed himself. We stand by the medical examiner's determination that Freddie Gray's death was a homicide. However, after much thought and prayer, it has become clear to me that without being able to work with an independent investigatory agency from the very start, without having a say in the election of whether our cases proceed in front of a judge or a jury, without communal oversight of policing in this community, without real substantive reforms to the current criminal justice system, we could try this case 100 times and cases just like it, and we would still end up with the same result. Accordingly, I have decided not to proceed on the cases against Officer Garrett, Sergeant Alicia White, or to relitigate the case against William Porter. What I've learned through this experience is that every battle, every hurdle, every obstacle that we've overcome since the pursuit of these cases has brought us one step closer to equality.
Listen, that's too real.
Then you see Roger, you see that boy get shot in his doorway.
That's too real. Like what she just outlined there is too real for the current structure, for the FOP, for the FBI, for all law enforcement. That's just too transparent, and they can't allow states attorney, quote unquote, advocate states attorneys or progressive states attorneys to have that kind of bully pulpit. That's why they're shutting this down, man. This is that's too real.
That's why they're trying. That's why they're trying to shut.
No, they're shutting us down.
Oh yeah,
no, because no, the cat's already out the bag. People already, the seed has already been planted. It's too late.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you look at it. A couple of things stood out to me with that whole thing, right? So at the time, the state's attorney's office didn't have an investigation unit, and so they had to rely on the sheriff's office, and namely Mr. Kogan, to do that investigation. So I wonder if she was ever going to get all the evidence from, because I mean,
you know, the Baltimore City Police took all of the cameras out of Gilmore Homes, all of the cameras, and everybody saw. This is my one problem with it. Why you got 3 black cops out of nowhere? You had 3 white cops that everybody saw put that knee in his back and drag him to the paddy wagon. Stop right there. How in the hell? Where the 3 black cops? Oh, pop the brakes. Time out. No. And Caesar was never known to have a bad attitude or to give people a rough ride.
But Doni, to your point, I mean, we could only see so much. They didn't see. So we saw, by the time we saw it, he was already lit. Like he was already, they didn't see that initial knee to the neck. And if they maybe they moved the cameras or whatever the case may be, But that initial strike, we never saw.
I'm sorry.
Well, the thing is, we wanted to hold police accountable, and the thin blue line was like, listen, you can have the black ones here. Take these little niggers and you go and punish them. Because the thin blue line and black cops fail to understand, baby, that thin blue line ain't about you.
It ain't about you.
You are not behind that. You got no protection. You will be sacrificed.
But Eric Barron, all the rest of them think they also part of that until it hits the fan.
Until that day comes.
They need a sacrificial lamb.
Can any of y'all explain this whole thing? What? And then I see one this morning about the lady being a Neanderthal in a museum. What the hell happened?
Let me show you one more, right? Because you know, it speaks 1,000 words when you can see this madness, right? We're not gonna play it all, but you go ahead and show that shit. Let them see it. What this white woman, Marsha Taylor Greene, said.
I don't think you know what you're here for. Well, you the one talking about. I think your fake eyelashes are messing up. No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen.
Order,
Mr. Chairman.
That's beneath
even you against the order of your committee.
Order.
I would like to move to take down Ms. Green's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Baby girl? I don't think
we are gonna move and we're gonna take your words down.
I second that motion.
You agree to strike your words?
Yeah.
Okay. Ms. Green agrees to strike her words.
I believe she should apologize. No.
Perry, okay, hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Green
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then you're
reserve the right to
your
object.
words.
I am
You're
not apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys.
Why don't you debate me?
Mr. Chairman, the
minority. It's pretty
Chair
self-evident.
you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
Out of order.
You don't have enough
You're out of order.
intelligence.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
Okay, move to strike
I'd like to strike those words.
This is what we're paying for, and it's more to it when they start cussing. This was just Friday in the U.S. congressional hearing, right? And Kwame Mfume is sitting right next to Acacia, and he's just, you know, but this is real. Jasmine Crockett from Texas, Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia. You should have heard there's another minute of it where they say, I'll beat the shit out of you, you bleach, bomb, bad body. It is crazy, man. This is what we pay. This is where our politics is today.
Yeah.
And our people need to understand who they're voting for.
Not much different than Marianne Lasante, the delegate in Harford County. They called Prince George's County the nigger district.
Hard R.
Well, it depends on your definition of nigger, because if it is, then maybe Frederick, where you were, and David Trone represents, is the real one.
Nah, they got KKK outfit out there.
Yeah, big time.
Where David Trone is a representative that he bought Anthony Brown, Jesse Jackson's son, Aisha Bay Boy, and the other ones to speak up for him against a black woman who they say doesn't get black businesses.
Similar thing happened to Donna Edwards. The whole kit and caboodle went against Donna Edwards.
She didn't have what Angela also Brooks had in her arsenal. And she didn't have Larry Gibson.
She did not.
No.
Plus, she had that Jerry Curl grease with her. And they played out in the 90s. My name's Donnie Glover. Thank you, gentlemen. Byron, Andy Pierre, Mike Haynie. When are you on again, Michael Haynie?
We'll be on Sunday, 7 p.m., man, as the world turns in Black America.
Thank you to all of the people who support this network. Good morning, world.